Welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host today. I'm honored to be with Will Easton. Will, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Egberto.
Let me tell you something, Will. I learned so much from a piece that you did recently. I don't remember if it was a webinar or what that you put together, but what I did learn is that my email, the way I handle my email list, was completely and entirely wrong.
Oh, no.
You know, and I learned quite a bit about it. So first of all, tell me about what is it that you do to inform folks about what's best for their email. In that, you made mention that your email list is more valuable than anything and should be maintained because, again, websites are great. Your Facebook, Instagram, all of that is great, but the things that you own is your list.
That's right. So this was what you saw was a seminar that I did ahead of time for NetRich Nation. We do a lot of trainings. We had so many this year, we had to pack some in ahead of time.
Right.
So I was one of those. I love teaching about email strategy because, as you mentioned, the relationship that you as a nonprofit organization or a blogger, a podcaster, or a political campaign, that relationship you have over email with your community of supporters is something very special. It can go both ways. You can raise a lot of money with it. Ask a senator from Vermont about that. Senator Sanders, whose campaign I worked on 2016. And it's a two-way channel. You can be, if you pay attention, you can get valuable feedback coming back at you. And with a decent-sized list, you can raise some very good money these days.
Well, it's amazing that you actually worked for Bernie Sanders, because that was one of the most successful, if not still the most successful email campaign they ever had. So kudos on to you, buddy.
Thank you. And one of the key things we did there, I like to teach about this, is that it wasn't just all fundraising, right? So we were sending out 2, sometimes 3 fundraising messages a day. That's the reality of a presidential campaign, right? But in the middle of the day, we would always work in something that was another way for our supporters to get involved, whether it was phone banking or canvassing or going to a rally or maybe sometimes signing a petition, that kind of thing. So it wasn't just a constant drumbeat of give us money, give us money, give us money. We like to offer other ways for our supporters to engage with the campaign and turn out to real world events such that, you know, there's things happening in the real world, not just begging for money.
Now, you know, I want people to find you however they can to get these courses. But I can tell you that, like I said before, I did all things wrong. Why don't you give us a little snippet of things that people should take into account when they have a mail list? Give us a little sort of a drumbeat of what they must know. Sure.
So I'd say a few things to make sure you are doing and a couple to make sure you aren't doing.
Right.
The things you want to be doing is getting good content out, engaging content regularly. Whether that's twice a week or once a day or maybe only twice a month, depends on your organization and your programs. But when you have something good to say, go ahead and get an email about it, right? Out about it. If the one big thing not to do is please never, ever, and this is what's gone so wrong in political fundraising these days, never send people email to people who didn't agree to receive it. All of my inboxes are pretty much dumpster fires these days because of politicians asking for money. And it's some dog catcher in Wyoming. I don't live in Wyoming.
How did he get your name?
I don't know. Well, it was bought and sold and traded on a market that's out there, unfortunately, these days. And I think it's the strip mining of the Democratic fundraising ecosystem. Bottom trawling and just killing off nonprofits that are doing it It's sad to see.
What else is there?
So another good thing you want to be doing is working with a good ISP or email service provider that's going to let you do some targeting based on zip codes or things like that. So I live in Ohio. Stop inviting me to your events in San Francisco. I haven't lived there for 15 years. You have my zip code.
So you must segment your list.
Yeah, generally so. A lot of things you will want to send to the entire list. But also another thing not to do, if I just gave you a donation yesterday, don't ask me for more money today.
Know what was successful and target.
Right. And make sure
retarget that audience.
Yeah. So
now you said something that was interesting that it kind of, you made me change my email sort of right away. And that was, be careful with how much graphics you put in it or how big the graphics is, that sort of a thing.
Right. So there's good occasions to use a graphics. Certainly if you're a pet adoption agency, cute puppies, cute kittens, those are people like that. Or if there's a situation that happened on the ground, we're with an organization called TakeItBack.org and Summit Campaign Strategies. We're working on a constitutional initiative to codify Roe versus Wade into the the South Dakota State Constitution. They have been harassed a lot, the petitioners trying to get this on the ballot. And a lot of times these are young women getting harassed by these anti-choice zealots. So we've taken some pictures of that harassment of the harassers and gotten those into emails. Those have been pretty effective.
So that is when it's effective to use.
Yes, occasionally they can be effective, but in most cases, a highly designed, packaged, slick-looking email, you've wasted your time.
Really?
Yeah, big graphics take time to download. You certainly want your organization's logo in there for branding purposes, but beyond that, you should really have a compelling reason for every time you're adding an image into an email.
And I imagine you know that because you've actually tested them.
Yes,
with the
you can A/B test lots of different things, and I've rarely had an image improve the performance of an email, and most of the time it's going to depress.
Oh, so you've actually found the converse, that it's sort of hideous. You spent all this time to make it look pretty, and it turns out that the fact that you did that,
but you wasted your time.
Ouch.
And if you look at every good progressive email program out there, Move On, Credo, not so much anymore, but good campaigns, logo and the message. That's it. And they've tested into that format by doing exactly what we were just talking about.
Well, in our progressive movement, I think it is imperative that, people learn a lot of what, like I said, what you pointed out. I think it was a live video that you were doing for Netroots that I saw.
Yeah.
And I think people need to learn that wholeheartedly, because that's the only way we're going to make a difference if people are reading what we're sending. If we're sending stuff and nobody's looking at it, it makes absolutely no sense. So we need to make sure progressives that are out there listen to Will Easton. Will, how can you tell these folks where they can learn about email lists, whether it's through you or through a website or whatever? What can you tell them?
Right. So I'm doing another training today. If you're here at Netroots, I'll be up in the Wilford B room at 2:30. Essentially the same online training, but in person. A good organization to follow for this stuff is New Media Mentors, which is affiliated with Netroots Nation. That's our training institute that Alon 11 runs. And there are a few other good sources. There's an email summit coming up with Brad Caldana. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And so, can't pull that out of the top of my head, but folks can get in touch with me.
Well, that's, as I'm asking you that, I'm saying, why is Will Easton being so damn modest? Because I'm saying we need to, I learned what I learned from what you had in that group. I want folks to contact you. How can they contact you to really?
The best way is probably my Netroots Nation address, which is volunteers@netrootsnation.org.
There you go.
Close attention to that this week.
I hope more than a week, because this is going to be shown throughout this year.
Okay, great.
So volunteers at netrootsnation.org. Don't forget, volunteers at netrootsnation.org. Check out Will. I can tell you, he's making sure. I haven't done all the changes that I've learned from this guy on my mailing list yet, but when I get some time, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna be changing it, because that was some damn good information to make me a more effective email communicator.
Thank you, and I hope we as progressives get better at this stuff too, because the media environment, despite heroic efforts like yours, the media environment is still very corporate dominated. Hard for progressives to get their message through, but with a good email program, you can be in millions of email boxes very quickly with a good message, and let's make the most of that opportunity.
Will Easton, thank you so kindly for being on Politics Done Right.
Absolutely love your show.
Thank you, brother. And the most important thing is for the information, because like I'm telling you, that is all we got with all these major corporations taking over Facebook, Share, and all these other things. We need, what you said is real. That is the only thing you control, your mail list.
That's right.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks, Berta.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share.